It's no secret that the Yu-Gi-Oh! Of 2002 and the Yu-Gi-Oh! Of 2020 are two entirely different things. One of the most noteworthy changes in the history of Yu-Gi-Oh! That still impacts the game today was the introduction of archetypes. The early decks of Yu-Gi-Oh! Were comprised of strategies that consist of powerful individual cards such as Magician of Faith, Mystic Tomato, and Jinzo. The first ever Yu-Gi-Oh! World Championship was held in 2003, and it wasn't until 5 years later at the 2008 World Championships where an archetype had won Worlds for the first time ever. Fast forward to today, powerful archetypes such as Sky Striker, Eldritch, and Emancipator have been dominating their respective metagames. Now, while brand new sets introduce powerful archetypes like the three that I just mentioned, they also introduced archetypes such as Rika, Marincess, and Dino Wrestlers, which
You're trash, bro. Bro, come on, bro. Come on, bro.
What's the matter?
Then, there's also archetypes that you probably don't even know exist, such as Light Rays. However, I am here to shine the light, haha, get it? On those archetypes. My name is BearXBear, and you are watching the Worst Of series. With the release of Battles of Legend Armageddon, we had 3 new archetypes released into the TCG: Numeron, Fossils, and Appliancers. Now, while Numerons immediately became a large part of the metagame, Appliancers and Fossils were absolutely nowhere to be seen. Now honestly, I could have gone with either one of those two, but ultimately, I decided Appliancers would be the more interesting and fun of the two to play around with. Now the question becomes,
are you gonna get me out of here or not?
and trust me, it wasn't easy. I tried just about everything I could to make these cards work. After a lot of theory crafting and messing around, I decided that ultimately the best way to play the deck would be a blind second variant, since a lot of the cards in the archetype ultimately don't do anything turn 1 by themselves. I decided on running a Mech Knight engine to accomplish a few things. First off, they would assist in breaking boards by being big bodies. Second, they would bait out interruptions such as Ash, Imperm, and Savage Dragon. And third, they would help us get one of our win conditions, which would be Rainbow Neos. Now, to keep testing fair, I decided to play 5 single matches along with one best 2 out of 3. We're not going to be nitpicking wins or losses, we're going to be playing all of these matches consecutively. However, games where the opponent just baby rages without much gameplay will not count towards the wins or losses. With that being said, let's hop into DB Rated and see how the deck performs. Okay, so it's game number 1 and we win rock, paper, scissors. We get our desired choice of blind second and we find out we're up against dinosaurs. Oh boy. On the bright side, we open up fairly well with access to both the Appliancer and the Mech Knight engine, so now our biggest concern is whether or not we're going to get Barrier Statue locked here. Our opponent is playing Caligo Clawcrow, like what? I mean, it's a wing beast, so I'm pretty sure we're going to get statue locked here. Pentastag? I mean, Lagia and UCT Pass is not the worst thing in the world, but I'm 100% sure this guy could have made a way better board here. Now, while I'm pretty certain I could have played through this board without mind control, bruh, we drew mind control, like it's over, it's a wrap. So obviously we mind control the Dolka here, and now we don't have to worry about UCT or any potential hand trap in his hand. Like, this game is a wrap. There is a million ways we can combo off here, but ultimately the goal is to do the Codebreaker combo and go into Rainbow Neos. Now, if you guys are interested in what the 2-card combo is for the Appliancer and Codebreaker combo, let me know. I'll happily make a combo video for you guys and explain why Codebreaker is an absolute must play for this deck. But yeah, that's going to be the end of this one. We're going to be starting off strong and we're going to be ending off 1-0 against dinosaurs. Game number 2 is a weird one. So we win rock, paper, scissors again and choose blind second, but our opponent doesn't play and passes it back to us. I could have done something with Appliances here and I got really greedy by not doing anything. So I just passed it back to my opponent, hoping that he bricked and couldn't OTK me. When I originally saw Numerons, I'm like, okay, I'm getting rewarded for not putting down a monster, and I'm not going to get OTK'd. And then, if anything, I can play around the Zexal with Pankratops and Imperm. And then my opponent drops a limiter removal. Now remember, we are trying to do this fairly, so we're not just going to nitpick good games. We're going to play consecutive games, and unfortunately now, we are 0-2. Now we're heading into game number 3, and we lose rock, paper, scissors. But our opponent makes us go second anyway, so we're pretty chill. It looks like our opponent is going to be playing stun, and there's no way we're letting this extravagance resolve. Now, they get the demise off of the duality, so yeah, never lucky. They're going to pass on rail, and that's just fine. I try to bait out any potential Ash with machine dupe here because I think resolving Neos fusion is significantly more important. Once he didn't have it, I should have just used the Neos fusion instead of wasting my board here, but it's fine. Our opponent has a lightning storm, but thankfully, Neos fusion has a graveyard effect that protects our guy. He's going to demise into not much of anything, and we top deck purple Nightfall. We're going to attempt to get rid of all his back row with Neos, but he has the Imperm. Fortunately, there's nothing he can do to prevent me from just swinging for game, and now we're sitting at 2-1. Game number 4, and we're doing pretty well with RPS here, and we get to go second again. Our opponent's playing Rockets, and we didn't open hand traps. Wait, ties of the Brethren? Brethren, please. I mean, okay, that's a board. No Mech Knights, but as long as that one card isn't Nibiru in his hand, this game is done. We have Codebreaker combo and a ton of lines to get to it. And with Rainbow Neos access, we can clear his entire board and just swing for the game. Game number 5, and it seems like we're up against Shaddolls. We open a bunch of mechs and Pankratops, and it's nothing to complain about, honestly. I'm not really concerned about what he pops here, because it seems like he opened pretty weak. A terrible top deck forces my opponent to concede, and that puts us at a solid 4-1 in singles. Wow, I actually did not see that coming. Now it's time for the ultimate test, a best 2 out of 3. We get our preferred choice to go blind second, and we're up against Numeron Guru. Oh man, this is probably going to be a little rough. He opens up absolutely disgusting Zexal, Guru, and a bunch of hand traps. We draw the Neos, and we're just going to set double Imperm pass. Yikes, he draws strike 2. We're going to try and play through this as best as we can, but it's not looking too good. I didn't want to run over the Zexal in case he can just use a second calling with no monsters to end the game. And the extravagance is just way too overwhelming. Like, we tried our best, but ultimately, we just take the L here. Game 2, we blind second again after siding. He opens Zexal for the second time, but we're still going to try and play through it. Thankfully, Mech Knights are not in effect to summon. We're trying to combo off hard here, but our opponent has Imperm and Ogre, unfortunately. Even then, I think we managed to play through 2 interruptions more than pretty decently here. Our opponent tops the terraforming here, and just wow. Anyways, it appears he only plays 1 copy of Calling, which I think is a pretty big mistake, but hey, it works in my favor. We top deck into Blue Sky, which is massive, and that's going to easily eat the Phoenix Negate here, and thankfully, we have the Terraforming set, which gives us the Field Spell and full combo. Our opponent concedes, and whoa, we are here for a game number 3. Game 3, he blinds first, which is the correct call. His deck is way too strong going first. We're going to see Zexal for the 3rd game in a row here, and I held the Ogre because Gamma Seal is enough to deal with Zexal by itself. I have Ogre ready for Hidden City, but unfortunately he hard drew the Fiendus. It's so hard choosing what to kaiju here because unfortunately we have no real way to combo. I got greedy and held my mouse, but I maybe should have linked it off to pop the set Guru and kaiju the Zexal instead here. So I'm forced to imperm the Fiendus, and it's not looking too good for me. With no real amazing top deck, I'm ultimately forced to concede, and we end on a final record of 4 wins and 2 losses. Now, to sum things up, I'm going to be honest, the deck performed infinitely better than I had hoped for it to, and I'm more than happy with the results. So with this out of the way, let's get into the deck profile. Alright guys, so here's the list that we opted to play for the worst of series. So we have 3 copies of Breaker Bunkle, 3 copies of Copy Buckle, and 3 copies of Sakuro. Maxing out on the Appliancer monsters is 100% necessary. Then for the Mech Knight engine, we played 3 copies of Purple Nightfall, 2 Blue Sky, 1 Indigo, and 1 Red Moon. For our hand traps, we have 3 copies of Ash Blossom, and then we have the 1 copy of Codebreaker 0 Day. All you need is 1 copy of this card, and the value you get out of it is absolutely insane. No over exaggeration here, like you saw it for yourself. Then we have 1 copy of Pankratops, because this card is amazing. This is a blind going second deck. Like, there's just no reason not to run this. And then we have Rainbow Dragon and Neos, which unfortunately are bricks, but we are forced to run them for one of our win conditions. Then we have 3 copies of the Field Spell, 1 Terraforming to get access to the Field Spell, 3 copies of Machine Duplication, 2 Cosmic Cyclone because we were kind of worried of running into some pesky Mystic Mine, 1 copy of 1-for-1, which is really good, 1 copy of Where Art Thou. Kind of wishing maybe I played a second one of this. Maybe the Upstart wasn't necessary. I don't know. 1 is kind of awkward. I don't know if I would keep it at 1. Then we have 1 Mind Control, 1 Neos Fusion, 1 Upstart Goblin, and to round out the main deck, we have 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence. For the extra deck, we have 1 Vacuum Elephant, 1 Kappa Scale, 1 Dryer Drake, 2 copies of Laundry Dragon, and 2 copies of Celtopus. Playing 2 copies of Celtopus I think is absolutely mandatory, and then Laundry Dragon is probably the second best monster in the extra deck. Then we're playing 1 Verte Anaconda to give us easy access to Rainbow Neos, 1 copy of Morningstar, 1 of the BLS Link, Borosword Dragon, Access Code Talker, and then the absolutely 2 mandatory cards you need to play with the Codebreaker package, which is 1 copy of Virus Swordsman and 1 Virus Berserker. And to finish off the extra deck, our win con, Rainbow Neos. For the side deck, for the best 2 out of 3, we decided to play 2 copies of Gamma Seal, 3 copies of Ghost Ogre, the 3rd copy of Cosmic Cyclone, 2 Lightning Storm, 3 copies of Dark Ruler No More, 3 copies of Evenly Match, and finally a copy of Red Reboot. That is going to wrap up the deck profile, and it's going to wrap up this edition of the Worst of series. Let me know if you guys enjoyed the series, what you'd like to see implemented into the series, and if you guys did enjoy it, please remember to like, comment, and most importantly, subscribe. It'd be great for you guys to show some love and support, and thank you guys so much for watching. It's been an absolute blast putting this together. Now, this is Bear, signing off. Peace, guys.